Many people say that music is a universal language. If that's the case, I would like to use music as a platform to talk about health. My name is Dr. Moshe Lewis, and I'm a full-time practicing physician who loves music and the way it affects our brains, our bodies, and our well-being. I would like to invite you to tune in where we interview musical artists about health matters that are important to them. But the truth is, we'll be discussing topics that affect all of us. From mental health to body image, cancer screening to stroke, our health is truly our greatest asset. So the goal is to open the dialogue on health to embrace topics that we don't always like to talk about in a way that's raw, candid, and lit. Hopefully, these discussions will improve the health of our community. After all, your health matters to me, and if I can make it sound more beautiful, then that's something we should all listen to.
Music and medicine, when you hear those words, how do they speak to your heart?
Music and medicine. Music is medicine. You feel me?
Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I'm really delighted and excited today to bring to you RIOPY, who is a world-class pianist, composer, and producer. And this is really going to be an exciting interview, so I look forward to talking to him.
Hi.
Yes, young man, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Absolutely. World traveler. We had a few moments before we got started to talk about the fact that you literally now live in Portugal. You grew up in the UK or spent a lot of time there, also some time in France. I wanted to start with such a basic question. Tell me what your name means.
So it's basically a Rio, and it's PY, right? So I think it means like a river flowing or something like this. You know, it has a Spanish, but strangely, I'm not Spanish.
Right.
But I ended up in Portugal, though. It's close enough.
Right.
So it means, yeah, river and flow, something like this.
Sure. You've had a tremendously creative experience that's very different. And to the extent that you feel comfortable talking about it, not growing up around a lot of music, share with us sort of just some of your first memories of getting exposed to music and how that occurred.
Wow. You know, the first time it's funny because it's a feeling. It's a feeling of a drop when I touch the piano and exploding and just feeling my heart with like something, oh my God, like, you know, like something out of this world. And I taught myself, right? So the piano was like, oh, and slowly it was like an entire world growing, you know, and then step by step, it's like a discovery. One note was another note. So it was just about feeling, just, you know, like a need. I started as a need, not a passion or at school or something. I was very, very young. And I guess, yeah.
Do you get a sense that you've heard that your ears, in your case, have this almost pure filter, and that when people listen to you perform, they feel that emotion because it resonates within your entire being?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I rarely talk about because but I don't need to talk about it. You go on the piano, you do it, and it's the way, yes, people most of the time respond. And we have a lot of tears at my gigs. Yeah, we should provide tissue.
Sure. On that note, you've had a lot of comfort in some ways sharing how meaningful things are to you when it comes to, I'll just say, mind-based health. We'll
Yeah.
pick a more positive word. Talk to us about that comfort level in sharing some of your journey, but also more through your music, feelings about ups and downs, anxiety and depression.
Yeah, it's music saved my life, literally. Sounds like a cliche, but it's true. You know, I had a very, very complicated upbringing, like many people actually. And I was very lucky to have this thing inside me that is music that will basically give me love. You know, I grew up with no love. That's it. And that's why I had this pain, you know, so much pain. I grew up in a court, you know, I didn't know my father. It was just insane. It was very, very bad. But I discovered music, you know, on the piano. And that's why I wasn't trying to do something, trying to be, just, you know, go straight to the point, feeling. And this would feed something inside me that basically gives me this opportunity to be here today. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. because it really is. I think music is magic.
What are maybe just a couple of the things that you've heard from others that sort of reinforce how much they identify with some of the things that you maybe not specifically went through, but that your music helps evoke in them?
There is so much. And what is very interesting recently, the last, actually a while now, time flies. Um, we have a lot of scientists now coming to me and talking to me about the effect of my music on, stuff that they're using. So tools to measure emotional response to, psychological tests and a lot of kids, a lot of teachers, and all of this together, it gives me first a lot of hope, second gives you, okay, you're doing something right. But also that music is definitely a tool for the future, even more, right? I think we need more people together to be open and realize that maybe sound, maybe is the fabric of everything somehow.
It may be ironic that we have a Steinway here, and just share with us, maybe before we transition to it, how you came to become familiar with that family.
Oh, it's well, it's a lot of stuff, but when I was in London, so yeah, I was born in France and then, ended up in London very young. Um, and and I started going there actually to play, and to try and, so they have rehearsal rooms. But then quickly I got a piano. I don't know how to start and how to explain, but I guess I got, lucky. Big musician got me a piano because he heard me play.
Mm.
And then, and it was, from the family of Steinway. And basically, um, those pianos have something, the craft of 150 years or something. And I actually like driving. When you drive, you go, you're in the flow.
Right.
Not everybody, but
Sure.
and when on the piano, I don't think, right? I feel just, you let go, you fully let go. And on the piano, on Steinways in general, it's true that you have all this technical, so you don't have to think, you just, your hands, it's an extension of your hands. And a very few piano can do that, I think on this planet, very few piano brands, and Steinway is one of those, yeah. Fazioli as well. You heard of Fazioli?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God, they're amazing as well.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay. So, yeah. So let's take a pregnant pause and just sort of transition over there because I think that it's very poignant that people sort of hear some of what you feel, but then express. I mean, those of us who follow you are familiar, but for those, if there's somebody out of the over 1 billion streams, um, if they haven't, I think that this part can be enlightening as we kind of walk and talk, so to speak, on the keys.
Absolutely. But funny enough, I think I was meant to play some of the new stuff, but I think I feel like playing actually a I Love You piece,
Sure.
somehow.
Welcome back to Music and Medicine. We're now joined again by RIOPY here at the piano and wanted to have this conversation that was occurring, really transition to hearing this flow and this concept. It seems when I listen to your music, and I'm sure you've heard this, that it evokes so much emotion because you really feel the vibrations. Is there an early piece or a time in your youth where there might be some sounds that you felt like you were hearing that sometimes you go back because they take you to that place?
It's a very good question. It's almost like that a note, so any key that would just basically repeat and it would put like I get into a trance, So if I just play and then from then, like just going into the flow. You see, it's like entering a world. So so instead of trying to do chords and play and using my intellect, I just go very slowly. And then from there, I start building. It's like it's like flying, and I love flying. You know what I mean? You go into, and it's almost anticipation. And I think maybe that's why the emotions can flow, because it's not like starting to, and don't get me wrong, that could be cool.
Sure.
But it's more always for me to have an entry point. And this entry point needs to be very smooth, very gentle, because then it's going to build up. One of my pieces, I don't know if you heard that, it's called Drive. And that piece is like, so you see I go slow, you go into the, like, it's kind of like, it's not even, it's very hard to intellectualize what you feel, right? And this piece really helped me. It's almost like, for me, each piece has a code, right? It's like a special thing for me. I'm not saying, I don't know if it is for people, but so far, like Drive, I made this piece in London, like when I was, again, having, a very hard time, right? And I breathe, because I'm always breathing, as breathing is, I think people forget how important. I mean, you know that more than I do. It's everything. And then it started like, growing and growing and growing. You see, like going into a kind of a transition. It gets from one point to another and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it takes me out of this world. That's what music for me really does. It takes me out of this world into a safe place. And I think that music in general, it depends, of course, on people, but I've seen it as well in Central Africa, with the tribes having this little sitar that actually they claim they have invented before the Egyptians. And I actually believe it. I actually believe it. And you've got, and it's almost hard for us, from the West today to listen to it. But for them, it gets them in trance. Isn't it fascinating?
Yeah.
And the repetition. And as you can hear, some of my pieces have this kind of repetition, but it's not a repetition of symmetry, because I believe, as we talked about, the exact symmetry, I think, doesn't work, because it's a closed system. But if it becomes fractal, right, then it opens, and then you've got this wave and this oscillation that you mentioned, right? And this oscillation for me is like the heart has this oscillation, and then it grows and it moves, and this is the wave that I think affects the brain. And then we get those brain waves, and we get into an alpha or theta, and then you lose yourself.
Sure. Another big attraction to your music from your fans is that you're really not focused on trying to master the classics or perform someone else's work. You create yourself very organically. How do you feel that process comes about when you're thinking about, let's say, that next album?
And for the latest album, it was even kind of so last year, for some reason, I was dying. Like literally, my whole body, the mitochondria, wouldn't switch on, and it was going down, ATP levels down, like, and I would feel it everywhere. Right, I couldn't sleep, pain in my back all the time, like inflammation, like chronic inflammation everywhere. The pain, I couldn't even eat anything. It was very, very bad. And again, music, always going back to music, to play, so this album started being made this way. And I started as well to sing, because I think one day I was meditating and I saw a red thing all over here, right? And it was my vagus nerve. My vagus nerve was screwed. And conventional medicine, I hope I'm not, saying, but it's been very difficult to find people just with an open mind in, because they would say, oh no, it's in your head, because they wouldn't find what I have. So I don't know, but you're the problem. And I'm like, so what I did, I was like, if I'm the problem, so I ended up in this clinic in Lanzerhof in Germany, right? Like the best clinic of BS. And then they're like, if I'm the problem in my head, then surely my heart should be all over the place. So let's test it. So they put, this HRV, variability, whatever, like, on me for a whole day. I was like, well, actually, no, we have no problem there. So I was like, okay, let's do the hyperbaric chamber. So I did the hyperbaric chamber as -180, and my heart didn't move, because right? You just breathe. It's not rocket science, isn't it?
Right.
Just breathe, and like this, you prevent your heart from going all over the place. But nothing was enough. And seeing the vagus nerve, I realized that it was the gut, and everything starts in the gut. Was it Hippocrates who said that, right?
Right.
2,500 years ago? And basically, I started humming a lot. And it would, make me feel good.
Right.
And then I started singing again. And when I say again, because I was singing when I was a kid, and as I grew up in a cold, so it was very bad. I was blah blah blah, and at 15 years old, they took my piano away from me because to break you, because you play too much, and it was harder to control me because I would go to my little space, and they bought my little brother a guitar, and so I took it at night when they wouldn't see me, and I would sneak out and play the guitar, and I made a song because the guitar, as it's small, it's easier to sing on it. The piano is so big, it didn't need, I was like all these frequencies, all the vibration going.
Right.
But the guitar really needed it, and I did, and I got selected in this for this TV actually. I would sneak out and I sent it to a TV show in Paris. And the guru of the course, she was like, "Hey, you're gonna go," because she was thinking, money, we can make money. And for me, it was surreal, even the concept of money, because I didn't know anything, and it wasn't the same time as today. We didn't have I'm getting old. We didn't have the YouTube and stuff, right? I didn't grow up with a phone. And when I went there, they asked me to sing, and I lost my voice. I couldn't sing. I had too much pain, too much trauma, too much, and they made fun of me.
Right.
And I never, ever, ever sang again because it was, I was traumatized basically.
Right.
And I only focused on my piano. That's it, And as I was dying last year, you care even less.
Right.
You let it go.
Right.
And my heart was just sing, pour out, sing, mixing, and it was, I don't see myself as a singer, whatever at all. It was just the voice extending with the piano just together to make me feel good. And I realized that it would help my vagus nerve. It would help, all of this that was blocked, everything was blocked and all the organs would go down. And singing, I felt the vibration in my heart, in my gut, everywhere. And I could feel things, moving. So the piano and this together would be like, and my heart was like, just do it. And my intellect was like, no, you're happy with what you're doing. You've got a good gig, don't do it. And I only listened to my heart.
Right.
So I just, was going to do it. And then I had the name of the album, Be Love. It was just Be Love, because it's the only way, right? Otherwise, I think nothing for me matters on this planet besides love. If we're love, we share the world, right? Not being in love, but be love.
Right.
Compassion, empathy. So that's how I started making this album.
Is there, I know there's so many pieces in it, but is there one that you feel you want audiences to take a certain message away from if they hear it? Or do you want it to just, whatever comes to mind?
There is a lot, but there is one that, there is a lot for me. Of course, it's hard, it's like asking which kid I prefer.
Right.
Like, well, but funny enough, I love my kids the same. But we discover that the kids also, you have a different love for each kid.
Yes.
And that's incredible as well, right? That's why I think it's only love. Love for the little cat we saw, that's, it's a beautiful cat. To your brothers and sisters and, even friends, right? It's so I want to show you the chords of that one, because it was actually my daughter. I was in the kitchen, and we have a piano. So I bought like a very old piano, like an old French brand for almost nothing, because I wanted my kids, to be able to do whatever. So they put sticker and started painting on it, like this, they get, acquainted.
Exactly right.
All right, it's cool. It's
very smart.
And I love it because 3-4 years old, they started going to the piano because, of course, if you do it, then they do it, So my daughter, she had like her fingers, I can't even remember how she did it, but she had like, he was like this. She did this. And I'm in the kitchen, like, I was doing some vegetables, as usual. And I heard that, and I was just, and then she did this. And I was like, oh. And she carried on. It's just two fingers, and it filled my heart. Oh my God. So what I did, I was like, this is so beautiful. So I came next to her, and then we started with the two hands, so me and her. And then my left hand, I was accompanying her. And for me, it was just the most, amazing feeling to do it with my daughter as 5 years old, right? And just putting the hands, that's why some people ask me as well with kids, but how do you can you be a dad or mother in this world, blah blah blah. Just be with them, right? And just do your thing, and they follow, right? Sure. And that's how they I think grow, right? So this piece, I called it my lady's chords, sure, because it was the chords of my daughter,
Right.
yeah.
Amazing. I also wanted to make sure we talked a little bit about thrive, because the words, I think that word itself is so important. And no doubt what you've done, despite some very more complex times. Is there a piece in there that also resonates with you that you'd want audiences to know what it means to you?
I mean, it would be the actually the strings version, that maybe, I don't know, in post-prod you can put that as a nocturne, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it changed, from right. It's like, for me, it's like a journey. It's a walk, right? It really is a walk. And actually, in the clip, I'm like, running, but it's actually a walk, because it's just, the focus. Like, to be honest, I'm so tired. I don't even know how to play. Yeah, I don't.
Sure.
Doesn't come. Sorry. It's
I know it's one of your former pieces. It just that when you hear someone putting together, which I can't even imagine how you can put together an album, because there's so many things that you're hearing and so many expressions, and then trying to record it. There's such a process for that.
stuff.
It speaks very deeply when you come up with a title like that.
Yeah, because for me, it's all about always, looking towards this way, right? And not that way. And thrive is, as I said to you, music has never been a passion. It's a need, And I actually make more music than I eat. I only eat once a day. So but because it feeds my soul. It
Mhm.
really does, and it helps me through life. And I think even as a society right now, hopefully we're going to come back to it. I think we are right now. There is something happening, because music always been in every society, right? Civilization from the beginning. And for me, thrive, it's really what it means to, don't give up, don't look, just carry on, because we need to thrive. It's the only way we can survive, but also live our life, right? Because today we don't want to survive. And people, I want to survive. No, you don't want to survive. Right. You want to live your life.
Right.
So, and yeah, and as I said, like, it's, for me, it's the soul calling. And people think, oh yeah, no, like, do you have a soul? Guys, we don't have a soul. We are a soul.
Right.
That's what we are.
Sure. I want to maybe transition a little bit and sort of walk through your day. Talk to us a little bit about sort of how you get started, how you warm up, your body, and then on the keys.
So my body, every morning, because when you went through, like, when you go through a lot of a trauma and stuff, the body takes a lot of heat, right? And my body took like a lot of heat. So I had I'm basically autoimmune, right? Since very, since always. And but now I'm getting fully rid of it, because now I've got the tools, right? So, but you have to do things. You have to adapt to your body, right? That's when yeah. every morning when I wake up, I take care of the body every single morning. So that's the first thing I do. I don't even look at, no, I do this. So I wake up very early. I wake up around 4, sometimes 3:30, sometimes 4:30, but that's my time. I don't know why, it just is like this. And I actually love it because the energy, I don't know why, it feels like the quiet, there is something in there. Actually, is something that I'd love to study it, to understand it, but it really feels. So the first thing I do, I stand and I put my hand like this, the first thing I do. And then like this. And then I do this 21 times, 21 times, 21, 21. And then like this. And I do this now 100 times, right? It looks easy, but if you do it, easy. And then I do this, right? And I'm standing. And then I do this kind of, they call it in the East like bashlika, when like exercise, when I go up and down to really I activate basically my body. That's the first thing I do. And I'm not saying for everyone, but for me, it's incredible because I get straight away my blood flow, right? And I get into the zone and then breathing. So I do it around an hour and a half. I know some people might think, oh, it's too much, I don't have time, whatever. But for me, it's my life. I don't even think about time because your health, I think, is the first thing, right? So the breathing I do this. And I do this for 3 times, 3 rows of 10, 15 minutes. And then what I do with the muscle of elimination, elimination, I got it in. And I do this as well for, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 3 series, every single day. And I do this twice a day, around in the afternoon, because if I do it before sleep, I won't sleep.
Right.
And in the morning, and it really has helped me so much because since I don't get more disease than I had, right? So I feel my body stronger and stronger, and also since I do that, it does something with the pineal, because when I close my eyes now, I'm able to see like sometimes cartoons, which is really cool because people like taking drugs to feel.
Sure.
But I think you can do everything on your own supply, right?
Right.
And when you do the breathing, for me at least, I can just share my experience. It really activates, everything, and you're definitely in the flow, calm. And after, when I finish all of this, I go into meditation. Why? Because as I got rid of all the tensions in the body, right, and the breathing, then I'm there. I don't need to do anything. And so I don't even look, of course, I'm just, and whatever goes, right, whatever comes in, And usually I have my baby waking up and shouting, so then he comes and I carry on. And you know what he does? He's next to me, and he's almost 2, and he's even seated like me, and just mimics, right? So that's the process I do every day. But because for me, it makes me feel good. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but it makes me feel so good because I wake up, the body's activated, and then my mind, and I have no pain. And that's what I'm looking for. I feel like an explorer with the music because I am looking for God in the music. Always have. And for me, what is God is consciousness, is pure love. That's what it is for me, right? It's this pure love. It's not this man, telling you, I'm going to punish you for this and that. Right? That's my take.
Sure. Were you aware that they went to Kyoto and followed a lot of the older women over 100 years old, and some of the things you mentioned are some of the things they do?
No way. No, I didn't know.
Yes,
oh, really?
Yes, absolutely.
This kind of exercise and stuff?
Yes. Usually over 100, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, sure. Some of the things you're mentioning, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad to hear. Thank you.
So
Wow.
validation.
That's really cool because I really going to think it's crazy, but it's and it's incredible because, so you tell me, but when we breathe, right? It's like pipes, isn't it? It's like, I see it like pipes, and when I breathe, and that's why it doesn't happen in just 2 minutes. I need to breathe, then I stop, then I breathe again, then I stop. It like unlock everything. Right. Because, with what happened, I couldn't even breathe anymore. Sinuses, everything, bow, 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 bow,
Right.
And now I breathe and I don't get the flu, I don't get the cold.
Right.
So, but it's very interesting because I'm like, maybe maybe there is something there to like, yeah, there is, right?
Sure. Right. Opening up.
Opening up and just carry on doing it. And I think, yeah, I mean, of course, maybe there needs for training, but I'm very interested in that because I don't think anyone should be sick, and I don't think anybody should be in pain. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with religion saying, you deserve it. That's like, because when we say, oh yeah, God, everything is perfect and your place is perfect, well, I'm like, sure. So explain that to the little kids, dying every year or whatever.
Right.
Doesn't make sense. God doesn't put a kid, a baby, I'm sorry, to suffer. I don't believe that.
Sure. Is there a piece that, since we're talking about healing, that you feel this heals me when you play some of it?
A lot. Absolutely a lot. I mean, it's a lot. But it's funny because it's a yeah, we don't even. It's funny. I don't even know where to start with the piano today. It's just because there's so many things, and I'm like, is there one that you felt was healing?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I think it's a You heard this one? This one for the hope, for the because I think for music as well, I says those vibration, those sounds, you can have a thousand pieces, with like a tempo, whatever, but the emotion, and that's why AI will never be able to replace us, right?
Agree.
Because the soul connects, and this is our soul. That's it. You can't fake it. You cannot fake an emotion. I think you can, but not for long.
Yeah.
Because then you will see, and it's the same with piano. I mean, I'm sure you see it as well with pianists. You've got amazing pianists, especially in the classical, right? You listen to Horowitz, coming back after 20 or 30 years, making big mistakes. It's true, right?
Yes.
It's like, because, and then you've got all these people trying to tack. Oh yeah, the technique, yeah, but I don't feel anything. I want to feel. And when I play a concert, it's never, ever twice the same.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm running into, I always live on the edge.
Sure.
I need to improvise. I need to let go. I need to, because you can't put a piece of music in a box and that's it. No, it's impossible. Let go, let go. And then this flow happens. And, when I did Drive, again, when I go back to this one, it's because Drive helped a lot of people going through stuff. And I heard the stories. And I'm learning now, that's why I'm doing even more to protect. That's why I asked you, how do you do when you have all these people suffering? How do you protect yourself? Because you take it in, right? It's energy.
Right.
And after my gigs, people come to me and, and you sign and of course I'm happy to see them, but they have a very personal story with my music.
Right.
And most of the stories somehow is like going through hell,
Right.
And I'm like, and also the empathy is, when you tell me a story, I experience the story, I see the story, I feel the story. And I think everybody does that, right? That's, that's how we do it. And it's, when I have this woman coming with her brother-in-law because her husband died and he was listening to Drive, that's the only thing, he woke up from the coma before dying. So they would, and they tell me that and he's dead. And you're like, and then I get that. So much of stuff like this, of people, going through pain, but giving hope with this track the same way it gave me hope.
Right.
Because for me, that track, there is at some point it goes like. For me, it's like this anticipation when you have it's like a turning point, right? It's like bam, 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 and then you go there and you go there and you go there. It's like breaking, and I feel like almost breaking the intellect, right? Because the calm stuff are of course very important and have a lot of very, but it's already when you are in this, in this stage. Right. And for me, the emotion, this peace drive is the thing of fighting. You're fighting and you're getting there because it's like pushing and going through. That's why I call it drive, because it's this drive that, motivates and gets you to a place where you're like, no, it's going to be okay. That's, yeah.
Sure. One of the things that comes across as I listen to some of your other pieces, obviously, is this how you wrap your head around the fact that we don't always have pentameter, we don't always have a specific rhythm. Like you said, you're trying to achieve a flow. I think that's something that draws people in, because so much of the music that we may listen to, and obviously classical would be the most specific, is very, very timed. Okay, we do 3 of these in bridge, we do a melody and a rhythm, and here you're allowing yourself to do that. But it seems so hard to either get it written down or remember it, because it's almost as if the intellect can't keep up with the pacing.
No, everything is here. Yeah, right. Everything is here, and I have actually friends that we then they do the transcription. Right. Okay. And why? Because I could do the transcribe, but when I start, all right, I write the note, then I hear something else. Right. So you're like, oops, and for me, I feel that my real value is in creating. Yes. That's why that's why I'm not, didn't come to LA or New York to like do business. I'd rather be home and make music. Right. Because I think that's really where I feel like being I don't know, like a little explorer trying to find. So I don't use the intellect. I mean, actually, it's not, I guess, entirely true, because the intellect was probably helping me when I was a kid to discover the keys, right? Because the repetition, right? So, for example, and then, right, you start, and this I think is part of the intellect, right? The repetition to know, okay, you do it again and you do it again, because like this, you're going to expand your skills, right, on the piano, right? I mean, that's, I think, and then as long as there is the theme and the song, then as I said, every time they will be a bit different, because I can't play them always the same. Right. It's very rare for me. There are a few. I think Ukiyo is one of the few that is and I think maybe because they has a kind of completion that's it. There is nothing else to say. That track is like this, it doesn't move, right? But it's never intended. For me, music needs to flow and go everywhere. And that's why every concert will be different, because I also feel the energy of the people. It's there, right? Like, as I said, right, you feel it when people tell you something. That's why we need to be loved, because then you hear happy feelings. And that's what I love the most, because I make even people sometimes, just humming with me. And oh my God, it's powerful, especially when there is a little resonance, right? Because you get into love.
Right.
That's how I say it.
Right. Collective breath. So then here's that question. What advice might you give to creatives to continue to try to stay pure to the creative process and not get too drawn into the business or the commercialism?
Oh, that's a very beautiful question. I I have a lot of young pianists, and I mean, actually young and less young, and everybody just telling me, oh, and most of them a lot, I want to help people. I love helping people, but you cannot help for a career, because there are no rules, right? The only one rule is do what you love. Try and not copy, because if you do that, yes, you might have a hit, maybe, but it's not going to fulfill you, right? And you're not doing the things for the right reason. For me, I accepted, to be poor my entire life, to do what I do, just because I love music and it was the right thing to do. It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about, and I never saw myself even as a famous pianist or whatever. My wife, sometimes she said, but you don't realize I'm, but I don't care, because if you start, associating to it, right, then you start creating a persona,
Right.
and then you're not yourself anymore. And as I said, for me, it's very important to always be here with the heart for the music to flow. And what would hurt me the most in my life is to lose the flow, to lose the music. So that's why. So for people, I would say, go on the piano and play, create, I'm not really well today. Well, that's a good reason. Go and make music. I'm upset and make music, I'm happy, make music. Because then if you do it and you do it and you do it, then it works, right? And I really believe that every time you try to control something, it's dead. And I know with my experience, every time I try to control, it doesn't work. I had this meeting with Warner today. I mean, one of the guys, a concert guy, quite very interesting guy, an amazing guy. And he was telling me, so do you have like a new manager? And I said, and they expect me to have like this biggest manager and stuff. I said, well, at the moment, actually, no, I've got my wife who's looking after, just to make sure that everything runs. But we're not developing business. We're not, because I'm not a businessman. And I don't want to be a businessman, because for me, busyness means busyness. I need my time to make music and create.
Right.
And I said, and you know what? I said, yeah, but come on, you're successful. I'm like, well, that's the thing. I really don't care. I'm grateful, but I will be grateful if I lose it or if I win it. I give you an example. I was doing this, there was like this big job that came in a few weeks ago. They flew me to Tokyo. I go to Tokyo, and then the job is canceled when I'm in Tokyo, right? I'm like, all right, you keep your cool. It's like, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, no, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, done. I'm not doing it. Stop. And they're like, but you can't. I mean, come on, it's the money. It's like, I don't care. And of course, we can always do with the money. But I'm like, no. Here, my heart. You treat me like, because you think I want the money.
Right.
I told you, I think the project is cool, so we can do it. But then you're changing the rules and you're treating me like, no, I'm sorry, treat people well. You break the rules. If you break the rules, then I'm not doing it. And people didn't really believe it, But for me, it felt good.
Right.
And people might say, yeah, but come on, you don't need the money. No, it's not about that. It's about doing things for the right reason. If you let go, life, consciousness, God, whatever, gives you what you need. I really believe that. What do you think?
Sure. No, I absolutely agree with you 100%. And I think this is a challenge that so many artists may face. Not all, but some. If they sell out almost their soul or who they are, or their passion or their calling or their love for the music, simply, like you said, for the hit or for a check or to do this or do that, sometimes their heart's not in it and they may feel really empty if they don't truly love it. That doesn't mean they may not like it. It's just, do you really love it? As you continue to move on to the next album, things like that. Early on, you may not have expected the success. Usually they don't.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, okay, I know if I put this work in, it'll be successful, but I've got to love it. Otherwise, you hear people say, oh, I don't want to sing that song anymore. I hate having to go in front of so many people. I just want to take off a month. Take off a month. And
that's fascinating, isn't it? Because even now, we've got all these huge musicians taking the bandwidth of everything, but they don't even make the music.
Right.
There's writers, and now we have AI.
Right.
So now the AI, writers, because writers take AI, and AI doesn't even create, it copies.
Right, of course.
And it's fully legal, and it's fine. And you're like, guys. So I say to people, you know what? Instead of going on your computer and press on a button like everybody, go to an instrument, right? Go to an instrument, touch it, feel it. And today you've got even weird instruments, because there is a market for everything anyway. So do what you love. As long as you love it, you will find your audience. You will find, your niche. And sometimes it's better to be big in a niche than trying to be mainstream like everybody, because it doesn't work. And people were also, for me, I believe, duped, by the advertising companies saying, oh yeah, if you do that, you're going to be, the next star. And nobody knows how it works. Everybody thinks, oh yeah, that's it. Is super famous because It's BS.
Right.
And most of them, who is happy? It's true, right? Who is happy? So what are you gonna do? Like your little mountain of cash. What are you gonna do if you're miserable? It's not worth it.
True.
That's why I really believe to make music. And if you ask me, about kids, what do? They put it online. Play and put it online. That's it. And then that's it. And that's the beauty of internet, right? At least there are some good sides to it. You can have your own little fun, and talk straight away to your fans, and like this, make music, sing, collaborate. I would say is very important. Make music with other people, and outside, take your phone and under a tree and just, I think that's, for me, that's life.
Sure. Enjoy. No, words to live by, I definitely think so. As we end, is there something that speaks to your heart or that you move to play to just sort of express how you feel through your hands?
Yeah, I felt like playing those notes.
I love it. I love the pregnant silence, and all I could think about was Waterfall and Sunset Hollow. Um, it just evokes those kind of emotions. But saying thank you sounds so cliche. You went out of your way to make this work before flying over 6,000 miles
Well, you
away,
too.
and I went out of my
We
way.
met.
But because of your people and the team. And I just wanted to say that it means so much because I think so often the reason for wanting it, certainly somewhat on their part, but definitely on my part, I can selfishly say, was trying to constantly find this someone who's keeping their eyes open, their ears open, their heart and their mind as they continue to explore the creative. And then in your case, it's just a fact. You've provided your music as a medicine to so many people. So many organizations have linked up with you because of it. And I know the work that you're doing in the UK for helping young kids explore music as well. And that's rare because it's really not occurring from a position of power. You're really doing it simply because you went through such an incredible story that few people would know, and yet found a voice. And I think a lot of people, when they come with whatever they may be having in their hearts, they hear your story and part of theirs with some potential resolution. That's definitely medicine. That's what our show is about.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
yeah, we need to share the more we share. And because the kids, if we don't have kids, 20 years, we're screwed.
Exactly. They keep
And I
us
really
essential.
love kids. Kids are the future.
Sure.
I want to nurture. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. A true pleasure. Thank you.